apophatic via negativa. Apophatic from the Greek apophasis, meaning negation, or denial, is a term used in Christian theology to describe a particular approach to understanding and speaking about God. It is often contrasted with the cataphatic or affirmative approach, which seeks to describe God through positive statements and attributes. The apophatic tradition, also known as the via negativa, or the negative way, emphasizes the limitations of human language and knowledge in expressing the divine reality and, therefore, seeks to approach God by emphasizing what cannot be said about God rather than what can be said. The apophatic tradition has its roots in the early Christian contemplative and mystical writings, particularly those of the Eastern Orthodox Church. It is closely associated with figures such as Pseudo-Dionysius, the Areopagite, Maximus the Confessor, and Gregory of Nyssa, who emphasized the transcendence and ineffability of God. In these writings, the apophatic approach is often combined with the cataphatic approach, recognizing that both positive and negative statements about God are necessary for a fuller understanding of the divine mystery. One of the key principles of apophatic theology is the idea of divine incomprehensibility. This principle asserts that God, as the ultimate reality and source of all being, is beyond human comprehension and cannot be fully grasped by the limited human intellect. As such, any attempt to describe or define God using human language will inevitably fall short of capturing the fullness of the divine essence. Apophatic theologians, therefore, argue that it is more appropriate to speak of God in terms of what God is not, rather than what God is. By negating certain attributes or qualities, one can gradually move closer to an understanding of the divine nature, without falling into the trap of reducing God to a mere concept or category. The apophatic tradition also emphasizes the importance of personal experience and mystical encounter with God, as opposed to relying solely on rational or intellectual understanding. This approach often involves practices such as contemplative prayer, meditation, and asceticism, which are designed to help the individual move beyond the limitations of the discursive mind and enter into a direct, experiential awareness of the divine presence. In this sense, apophatic theology can be seen as a form of spiritual practice, as well as a theoretical framework for understanding the nature of God. Some key concepts and themes in apophatic theology include ineffability, the idea that God is ultimately beyond all human language, concepts, and categories, and cannot be adequately described or defined using human terms. Transcendence, the belief that God is radically other and distinct from the created world, and cannot be fully comprehended or contained by the finite human mind. Divine darkness, the notion that the divine reality is often hidden or obscured from human perception, and can only be approached through a process of negation and self-emptying. Mystical union, the goal of the apophatic spiritual path, which involves entering into a direct, experiential communion with the divine presence that transcends all conceptual and intellectual understanding. Theosis, or deification, the process by which the individual is gradually transformed and divinized through their encounter with the divine presence, ultimately becoming one with God in a mystical sense. In conclusion, apophatic theology represents a distinctive and important strand within the broader Christian theological tradition. By emphasizing the limitations of human language and knowledge in expressing the divine reality, it serves as a necessary corrective to the potential pitfalls of excessive rationalism and intellectualism in the study of God. At the same time, the apophatic approach also points towards the transformative potential of mystical encounter and spiritual practice, offering a pathway towards a deeper, more intimate relationship with the divine.